There are things you will never say out loud. Things you've concluded, decided, quietly catalogued. Things that live in the locked rooms of your mind where nobody gets a tour. Most people treat those rooms as incidental, just things they happen to keep private. Robert Greene thinks differently. He understands something most people will never fully grasp. The architecture of what you choose to reveal and what you keep hidden is one of the fundamental mechanisms of power. Not the things you do, not the words you speak, but the things you have strategically chosen to never surface. 7 of them in particular. 7 categories of information that once exposed can quietly reduce your advantage. They are not shameful. They are structural advantages, and announcing a structural advantage before you use it is the only thing more foolish than not having one. The last one will reframe every secret before it. Secret 1. Never reveal who you're in the process of becoming. Octavian was 18 years old when Julius Caesar was assassinated in 44 BC. The men surrounding him, Cicero, Mark Antony, the senators, the generals, were uniformly dismissive. Antony referred to him openly as the boy. Cicero, the greatest orator of the age, wrote letters describing Octavian as someone to be praised, used briefly and then set aside when his purpose was fulfilled. Intelligent men, powerful men, men who had navigated Roman politics for decades, they all made the same mistake. They looked at the Octavian standing in front of them and concluded they understood him completely. They did not see the man assembling himself in the shadows. Octavian concealed his transformation with extraordinary discipline. While Antony dismissed him, he was quietly building alliances with Caesar's battle-hardened veterans. While the Senate debated his role, he was studying the mechanics of military loyalty, who controlled the armies, and what those men actually respected. While every player on the board calculated his weakness, he was engineering the structural conditions that would eventually make him Augustus, the sole ruler of Rome and architect of an empire that would outlast every person in that room by centuries. Every single person in that political landscape adjusted their behavior based on who they thought Octavian was, not who he was becoming. This is exactly the kind of pattern Robert Greene repeatedly highlights throughout history. The most influential version of you is the version that hasn't announced itself yet. Think about your own life right now. Something beneath the surface is changing. You are building a competency they don't know about. You are accumulating something they can't see. You are slowly and irreversibly becoming more than what the people around you have calculated you to be. The instinct, the very human, very self-defeating instinct, is to announce it, to say, I'm working on something big, to let them see the outline of the structure you're building. This feels like honesty. It feels like closeness. What it actually does is give them the blueprint of what to question, influence, or interfere with. When people can see you in transition, they locate the exact moment when you are most vulnerable, halfway between who you were and who you're becoming. That is the window where discouragement is offered, where doubt is planted with a smile, where one precise comment at the right moment can undermine months of quiet work. The transformation that arrives in silence arrives with full force. No warning, no window of interference, no preparation made in advance. Most people hear this and think, keep your plans quiet. It misses something deeper, something the next secret reveals, because there is a more damaging disclosure than your plans, one that almost nobody guards, and once you see it, you'll realize you've been making this mistake your entire life. Secret 2. Never reveal how you read people. This is the one nobody discusses. Most people understand on some level that you shouldn't reveal your weaknesses. They know intellectually not to show all their cards, but almost nobody understands the significant cost of revealing the mechanism by which they perceive Robert Greene does not simply advise concealing your intentions. He repeatedly emphasizes the importance of concealing your method, your way of seeing, your framework for understanding human nature. Because if people understand the lens through which you analyze them, they stop revealing themselves to you. They begin performing for your framework. They give you a curated version of themselves calibrated to influence whatever patterns you've taught them. Look at Charles Maurice de Talleyrand, arguably one of the greatest political survivors in European history. He served consecutively under the Ancien Régime, the French Revolution, Napoleon, the Bourbon Restoration, and the July Monarchy. 5 radically incompatible power structures across 50 years of the most turbulent upheaval Europe had ever seen. Every one of those regimes could have removed him. None of them did. His secret was not simply that he was brilliant, though he was. His secret was that none of his employers ever understood what he actually saw when he looked at them. He never revealed the signals he was reading, the patterns he was tracking, the conclusions he was quietly drawing. He made his intelligence invisible. He appeared warm, occasionally indifferent, a man who seemed to observe less than he did. At the Congress of Vienna in 1814, France arrived as the defeated nation. Napoleon had been exiled, every other major power expected to reshape Europe without meaningful French influence. France had no obvious leverage. And yet Talleyrand walked away having preserved France's status as a great power, having driven wedges between competing interests, and having positioned France as an indispensable force in the new European order. He achieved this because he could read the fractures between other people before they could see them clearly themselves. He saw private tensions, hidden fears, and competing ambitions operating beneath the surface. He read the room at a frequency others could not access. But, and this is the critical point, none of them knew he was doing it. They saw a sociable diplomat making reasonable proposals. They did not see the analytical engine running beneath the surface. The moment you let someone know how you analyze them, what you look for, what reveals their patterns, what you notice when they think nobody is watching, they stop revealing themselves naturally. They start performing, and a person performing specifically for your pattern, recognition becomes extremely difficult to read accurately because every signal you receive has already been filtered. Go back to the first secret. The transformation you're protecting is only sustainable if the people around you cannot read the signals of change. They can only read those signals if they know what to look for. They only know what to look for if you've shown them your method. The 2 secrets are interdependent, armor and strategy. But the third one is the blade, and it has nothing to do with concealing information about yourself. It has everything to do with concealing your relationship with time. Secret 3. Never reveal the true length of your patience. In 1973, John Paul Getty III, 16 years old, grandson of the richest private individual in the world, was abducted in Rome. The abductors demanded $17 million. The Getty family could have written that check that afternoon and still had money remaining. J. Paul Getty Sr. refused to pay. He issued a public statement saying that paying would put his other grandchildren at risk. The press called him heartless. His daughter-in-law was in anguish. The abductors were confused, then frustrated, then desperate. 5 months passed. They severed the boy's right ear and mailed it to a Roman newspaper. The world reacted with shock. Getty still waited. He eventually settled for $2.2 million, the exact maximum deductible under U.S. tax law at the time, not a dollar more. What the abductors discovered far too late was that they were negotiating against a man whose urgency had no visible bottom. When you cannot locate your opponent's emotional timeline, when there is no deadline to exploit, no desperation to press against. You have no leverage. Pressure requires a vulnerability to press against. Getty refused to show them where that vulnerability was. Francis Bacon, in his 1625 essay of Simulation and Dissimulation, wrote something that has never received adequate attention in the centuries since. The man who conceals his timeline holds the future as a private possession. The man who reveals his deadline hands the future to his opponent as a tool. Think about the negotiations you've conducted in the last year. A salary discussion, a contract, a relationship dynamic, a decision about time. At some point, did you reveal your urgency? Did you let them see your timeline? When you needed an answer, how long you could hold your current position, what you'd accept to resolve it faster. The moment your urgency becomes visible, the dynamic shifts entirely. They delay. They stall. They wait. Time has become your enemy and their ally. What compounds this principle is that the patience you conceal doesn't just protect one negotiation. It accumulates into a reputation. People who have watched you wait, unmoved, composed, while they expected you to give in, carry that memory into every future interaction. Your patience, when it cannot be measured, becomes a reputation that precedes you. Your patience, when it can be measured, becomes a countdown they hold in their hands. But there's something even more volatile than your timeline. Something that, when exposed, doesn't weaken one negotiation. It permanently recalibrates every relationship you have. Something emotional rather than strategic. The next secret is the one most people expose without realizing they've done it. Secret 4. Never reveal who you've already mentally exited. Before you formally leave anything, a job, a relationship, an alliance, a friendship, there is a gap, a period of time between the moment you privately make the decision to leave and the moment you announce it. Most people close that gap immediately. They make the decision, and they say the decision. They experience the gap as uncomfortable, even dishonest, and they rush to eliminate it. This is a deeply self-defeating instinct. That gap is one of the most strategically valuable windows you will ever inhabit. Inside it you have something irreplaceable. The appearance of continued investment without the actual vulnerability that investment creates. You are observing without being observed. You can watch how the system behaves when it believes you are still committed. People reveal themselves entirely in that window. Their real motivations, their actual loyalties, the calculations they make when they don't believe they're being evaluated for the last time. Henry Kissinger understood this architecture precisely. During the Vietnam War, the official peace negotiations in Paris had collapsed into public theater. Kissinger was simultaneously running back-channel talks with North Vietnamese representative Le Duc Tho. The most delicate moment of that entire process, the one historians rarely examine, came when the American side was privately considering abandoning the official Paris framework entirely. If that intention had surfaced, if the North Vietnamese had known the Americans were mentally already exiting the public process, the leverage of both channels would have disappeared simultaneously. The concealment of the exit decision was not a side element of the negotiation. It was the negotiation. Robert Greene has highlighted this same principle repeatedly through historical examples. The intention of severance is one of the most volatile intentions to reveal. More dangerous than revealing your ambition. More dangerous than revealing your fear. Because when you announce an exit before you've executed it, you immediately surrender the narrative. You tell someone you're considering leaving before you're ready to act, and two things happen immediately, and neither serves you. They begin building their counter-narrative before you finish building yours. They brief others before you can. They begin the subtle, systematic work of reframing your departure, so that when it finally comes, It appears as failure rather than decision. Your exit becomes their story. Your silent exit is your sovereignty. Your announced exit is their opportunity. An exit decision executed without prior announcement arrives as a fact, not a proposal, not an opening for renegotiation. Facts carry a weight that proposals never will. The door closes, and a closed door cannot be negotiated with. Paired with this silence is something even more specific. A piece of information that is not emotional but numerical, quantifiable, and revealing it even once creates a structural disadvantage that cannot easily be undone. Secret 5. Never reveal your flaw. The flaw is the minimum you will accept before you walk away. The lowest salary you'll take, the minimum level of treatment you'll tolerate before you disengage, the smallest offer you'd accept to close the arrangement, the baseline, the absolute bottom. Adam Galinsky, a researcher at Columbia Business School, whose work on negotiation dynamics has been replicated across dozens of studies, has documented a pattern that should make you think carefully. When one party in a negotiation reveals their BATNA, their best alternative to a negotiated agreement, their flaw, the opposing party consistently adjusts their offer to land precisely at that flaw, not generously above it, exactly at it. You have announced the minimum you'll accept. Why would they offer anything more? Napoleon Bonaparte demonstrated the inverse of this principle with remarkable consistency in the diplomatic negotiations that followed his military victories. He would arrive at the table having just won a campaign and open with demands so extreme they appeared almost fictional. His counterparts were certain he was posturing. What they failed to understand was that his opening position was engineered specifically to make his actual flaw invisible, even to his own ministers. When he eventually compromised, he was still well above what he would have accepted. Nobody had ever found the flaw, and because nobody ever found it, nobody ever pushed to reach it. The flaw doesn't only live in money, your emotional flaw, the minimum treatment you'll accept before you disengage from a person, is one of the most consistently exploited pieces of information in human relationships. When you reveal precisely where your self-respect draws the line, you have handed someone a map, and the most manipulative people in your life will use that map to walk right up to the edge and stop. Not because they respect the line, because you've shown them the exact coordinates of how far they can go without triggering a consequence. They walk to the line, stop, begin again, walk to the line, stop, begin again. This cycles indefinitely because they know the exact perimeter of your limit. They extract from you at maximum capacity because you've drawn the boundary for them. The flaw only functions as protection while its location is unknown. The moment they know where it is, it stops being a flaw. It becomes a ceiling, the highest possible standard you will ever hold them to, fixed permanently in place. This leads to the 6th secret, one different in nature from everything before it. Not about what you conceal about yourself, but about what you conceal about the architecture of how you know what you know. Secret 6. Never reveal the source of your intelligence. There is a person in every organization. You have encountered them, someone who appears to know things before they are officially known. They speak with quiet, unhurried confidence about developments that haven't been announced. They reference conversations that were supposedly private. They are often not the most senior person in the room. They are not always the most obviously skilled, but they carry a gravitational pull that title and seniority cannot fully explain. Their influence rests entirely on an intelligence network. Someone or several someones trusts them with information before it becomes public, and the entire architecture of that influence collapses the moment anyone discovers exactly who those sources are. Sir Francis Walsingham served as Elizabeth I's principal secretary and intelligence chief from 1573 until his death in 1590, he built one of the most comprehensive intelligence networks Europe had ever seen. Contacts embedded in major courts, strategic ports, and political centers throughout the continent. His network is credited with exposing multiple plots that could have dramatically altered the future of England. The most studied aspect of Walsingham is the breadth of that network. The most under-examined is his absolute refusal to reveal its structure to anyone, not to the Queen, not to his closest associates, not even to many of his own operatives. Each segment of the network knew only its own segment. Nobody held the full architecture except Walsingham himself. When contacts were discovered, and some were, they could not expose what they had never been given. The network remained functional because its source structure was completely compartmentalized. The intelligence flowed in. Its origins stayed invisible. The translation to your own life is direct. When you learn something significant about a person, a situation, or a dynamic, the moment you reveal the source, two things happen. The person who confided in you discovers their confidence was not contained and they stop sharing. The people who now know the source bypass you entirely, going directly to that person, severing you from the information chain you built. The intelligence itself is the surface. The source is the infrastructure beneath it. Lose the surface and you lose one piece of information. Lose the infrastructure and you lose visibility entirely. Robert Greene repeatedly highlights this principle through history. The person who reveals his sources will soon receive only the information others want him to have. People speak freely only when they believe their words stop with you. Now everything in the 5 secrets before this one, every layer of protection, every strategic concealment, depends entirely on something that has never been named directly, a final condition without which none of it holds. The 7th secret is not an addition to the architecture. It is the architecture itself. Secret 7. Never reveal that you operate by any of these rules. When Robert Greene published the 48 Laws of Power in 1998, he believed he was presenting patterns of influence that had repeated throughout history. The book quickly spread through boardrooms, businesses, political circles, sports organizations, and creative industries. But something else happened. Many people became deeply suspicious of the man who wrote it. A person who understands the mechanics of influence with this precision, who can articulate persuasion, status, and human behavior this clearly. How could such a person ever be trusted to operate without calculating advantage? His transparency about his knowledge of power became evidence of his perceived threat. Robert Greene's greatest challenge was not that he misunderstood influence. It was that he explained it openly. This is the principle documented in Michael Slepian's research on secret keeping at Columbia University. Slepian's research established something that overturns the common assumption about secrecy. People who are known to keep secrets are perceived as having something to hide, even when what they're keeping is entirely harmless. The perception of strategic withholding is itself a social liability. Once someone understands that you selectively disclose, every disclosure you make is read as a strategic move, and they would be right to read it that way. But now they are analytical, suspicious, performing for you the way you perform for them. You have lost the most valuable social currency available, the assumption of sincerity. And without sincerity being assumed, you cannot read people accurately because they have stopped responding to their own instincts and started responding to yours. Every secret on this list functions within a specific social condition that the people around you believe you to be naturally transparent. A person who simply never thought to conceal these things. Someone operating on instinct rather than design. The moment they suspect you operate strategically, hiding the shape of your transformation, masking your method of perception, suppressing your timeline, protecting your exits, burying your flaw, compartmentalizing your sources. Every one of those protections weakens, because now they're looking for the concealment, and a person who knows what to look for will eventually find it. This is where most students of influence permanently stall. They learn to hide their ambitions. They absorb the right frameworks, and then they advertise them. They let it be known subtly or directly that they've been studying these dynamics. They announce, "I am a person who thinks strategically about influence," and they have handed the room exactly what it needed to adapt to them. The highest level of this operation is the appearance of complete naturalness, not performed naturalness, genuine ease, warmth, apparent openness at carefully chosen moments. The goal is not to seem closed. Closed is suspicious. The goal is to seem open in a way so precisely calibrated that nobody can distinguish it from the real thing. Gracian encapsulated this in a single line that most readers pass over without stopping. Know how to simulate and dissimulate, but let neither be known. Not don't simulate. Not don't dissimulate. Let neither be known. The concealment must itself be concealed. The person who seems warm, candid, easy to read, an open book. If they have genuinely understood this, they have revealed very little. Every apparent disclosure is a precisely chosen gift. Every moment of visible vulnerability is a calculated investment. Every laugh, every small offered truth, carefully chosen. You think you know them because they seem like the kind of person who couldn't help but show you who they are. They showed you exactly what they decided you should see. Now hold the full architecture in your mind. The transformation you're protecting, the method of perception you're hiding, the patience you're not quantifying, the exits you're silently executing, the flaw you're burying, the sources you're compartmentalizing. None of those protections hold if the people around you know you apply them. All of them hold far more effectively if they don't. The 7 secrets are a tool. The 7th secret is the case that holds it. And you do not carry a tool where everyone can see it. Not because it's shameful, because a tool that everyone can see is a tool that everyone has already prepared for. Robert Greene understood all of this. He understood it more clearly than almost any modern writer on influence and human nature. The lesson is not simply to study influence. It is to understand that the moment people know exactly how you operate, they begin adapting to you. Learn from that lesson. Don't make the mistake of announcing every framework that guides your decisions. Most people will ignore everything you've heard today and continue operating exactly as they always have. They will continue announcing their plans, exposing their leverage, revealing their timelines, and surrendering their advantages before they ever use them. Don't be one of them. Subscribe if you haven't,